Hey guys, this is Jamie. So today I want to talk about LGBT representation and specifically, since we're in Pride Month, how it has been with corporations pretty much pulling out of Pride. And I want to preface by saying that obviously, like I'm in Portugal, and I do feel like there has been less decorations, but we have had sort of the usual suspects still do Pride stuff. Like Flying Tiger still had a lot of Pride stuff. I'd even say more than usual. Or like Primark still had socks, and I'm also wearing like Pride socks on me today, coincidentally. But still, it was quite toned down. Like I didn't see it in other stores. But at the same time, I can't think of too many representations that we've had in general. I feel like sort of rainbow capitalism is mostly in other countries outside of the EU or like in the UK or in the US was more dominant rather than Portugal. But obviously, I have to say that a lot of people have been upset, obviously, about the fact that there isn't so much more brand supporting it. And I have to say that I, as funny as it sounds, I was pro rainbow capitalism because I did feel like it was still a way to sort of raise awareness, have a lot of merch, have certain things get signaled, like, being an ally, being gay, being lesbian, being bisexual, being trans. Um, so there's like that oldish, well, not oldish, it's like a few years old. There's that ads of Oslo Pride, where everyone like wears a rainbow bracelet or like a necklace or something to signal that they're pro LGBT to make spaces more comfortable. And that's what it felt like to me. It felt like when brands would do that, that's what it meant. And also, it was easier to get rainbow stuff because back in the day, like I remember when I just started coming out, like in the UK, it was mostly, you'd go to gay stores, gay bookshops, sex stores to even get like rainbow pins. So obviously, having much more of a choice was much more nicer. And now we're kind of back to this idea that this homophobic and transphobic idea is that, being gay is bad, being trans is bad. So obviously, we're not in a good place. We're in the bad place. And while I do understand the criticisms of like before it was just done to sort of cushion the money of shareholders and stuff like that. I do feel like it was better back in the day, not just because it was just there was less homophobia and we kind of were in this idea that things are getting better. Like we as humanity have evolved from hatred, but unfortunately that is not the case. And specifically when going back to sort of this rainbow capitalism, I feel like people really complains a lot. And I was on the opposite. I felt like we need it on the opposite. We need brands to say that they're okay, even if they might not be. It's better to have bad support than no support at all. And the problem is that right now we're sort of stuck in this terrible and limbo with a bunch of laws passing, a bunch of hatred, and because sort of before people would not speak up about their hateful ideas, it was not okay to sort of speak proper hate. And now we kind of, if people are showing, like, oh, they're pulling out of pride, or like, oh, they're pulling um, sort of pride merch away from their stores, then they're signaling and they're openly saying, like, yeah, this is not okay. Like, it's okay to be homophobic or whatever. And obviously, that is not the case. And this also shows on the other side how easy it is to sort of manipulate brands. Like, all it takes is for someone in the White House to be responsible above everything, and they will dictate what the market says. And I do understand that's unfortunately how the world works. But I just wish we made sort of, I guess, more acceptance or more noise pro brands being gay, because I feel like specifically like when June 1st came around, a lot of people were sharing like old memes of like, oh, here it comes, we're gonna have rainbow logos everywhere, but we didn't because people spoke out against it. And on top of that, the main reason is that we have proper homophobia and transphobia dominating the political scene. But I really kind of miss seeing more flags everywhere and being in this sort of idea that humanity is managing to sort of come back from the stone age, not have hatred, and that we're moving towards a positive future. Well, now we have this sort of bizarre idea that we need to be regressing into a past that doesn't properly exist, and that is the problem. Unfortunately, we have to face the reality right now. We're in a very difficult position. There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of right wing governments rising. There's a lot of very strict alt right. We don't know what's going to happen with the elections in any place. And because the hatred is so blanket, like art is also like I've been reading articles about it as well today. So that's what's in my head. Like, sort of, we have gentrified sort of arts, voices, opinions into sort of making everything the same. So that's why sort of this idea of having pride of being different is something that people are going to be, not people, but rather governments or like, people in charge are going to be against. Because if you're going to show that it's okay to be different, then you're going to let people think for themselves, and you're going to let people vote for other parties rather than vote for some unity or some desire to go back to the traditional past, which is something that they claim existed. And that's the problem. All in all, I'd say we have a very difficult situation, and I do still want to be happy for the brands that still hold uh, prides. And I was browsing TikTok earlier today, and I also saw like a dude complaining about like the Converse sneakers doing their Pride collection. It's like, it's not that nice that you're reviewing this now, because obviously, and specifically like with criticizing that it might be ugly or nothing. Like, I'd rather have even more now, like ugly collections rather than no collections at all. On the opposite, I feel that I'm voting sort of with my money that I want more Pride merch. I want people to have to explain to their bigoted relatives that gay is okay. And I want them to shut up about their very sort of negative opinions on gay people. I want to know that it's okay to buy rainbow socks and that my rainbow socks will be there as well next year. And I will be there as well, but obviously, like, I know that I'll be fine. But I still want the merch to be there. And I know this is like a small thing in the grand scale of things, but I want to have that support. I don't want to sort of walk into the street and think like, oh, I have a rainbow thing. I hope I don't get punched, which was something like which I grew up with. But I just want to be safe, and I want the world to go back to an actual safer place, and with no sort of anxiety or like not having, like, for instance, my city, like the city where I live, like made a stand by having the gay pride flag hang on the like mayor's place. I forgot the word in English. And yeah, other places don't have that privilege, like even in the same country. People just don't stand up for themselves or for the community. So yeah, so it's quite sad. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. This was my thought on sort of rainbow capitalism, sort of corporate support on LGBT stuff. And yeah, thank you very much for all the love I've been getting. I've been really enjoying it. It's really lovely. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Feel free to send it to argue with someone about rainbow capitalism because it's good to have opinions and discussions. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. Thank you.